Playing our part, the ICHP House of Delegates. Welcome to an orientation for delegates to the ICHP House of Delegates. During this presentation, I will walk you through how to play your part as a delegate in the ICHP House. The purpose of the House of Delegates is to receive the annual reports of the Board of Directors, establish professional policy, and to review and approve any recommended constitutional changes. A House of Delegates session consists of two separate meetings of the House. During the House of Delegates session, each member of the ICHP Board of Directors will present a report of the activities of their office, division, or region that have occurred since the last time the House met. Usually that would be the time from the previous annual meeting. The House may approve, reject, refer, or revise action items presented to it by the members of the Board of Directors. Any action item that is revised will be reviewed and, if appropriate, approved by the Board of Directors. It is important that the members of the House read all the materials that are presented to them in advance so that they may know and understand the issues coming before the House. It is valuable for delegates to discuss topics with members of ICHP that they represent. Obtaining feedback and insight from the members' perspective is critical. Delegates can only have an impact on the final outcome of any issue by participating in the discussions that occur during the House of Delegates deliberation. Being a member of ICHP's divisions or committees throughout the year helps the delegates stay engaged and up to speed on critical issues that will come before the House. This list of steps is very important and will help the delegate play a greater part in the deliberations of the House. Again, interacting with other members of ICHP in advance of the House session will add to the discussion and improve outcomes in the end. Thinking of issues that can impact ICHP's future is another vital part delegates can play in directing ICHP. As a delegate, it's important to know the rules of the House so that you can participate actively and effectively on critical issues. Debate is usually limited to 2 minutes per delegate, and no delegate may speak twice until all delegates have the opportunity to speak a first time. It is critical to print out the information provided to you or load it on a laptop or tablet. Handouts are no longer provided to the delegates at the House session. Rather than sending out the minutes to the entire House, the chair will select a smaller committee of the House to review, revise, and approve them for this year's session. The committee is chaired by the current ICHP Secretary. Most sessions of the House of Delegates will have a few action items to discuss and vote upon. The House will be presented with action items that include the approval of new and revised position statements, deletion of existing position statements which are no longer relevant, or approval of proposed constitutional changes. The House will also select the chair of next year's House of Delegates. The chair not only presides over deliberations of the House, but also represents the House of Delegates at all Board of Directors meetings throughout the organizational year. Each member of the Board of Directors will present a report to the House. Most of the reports of the Board of Directors are informational and do not require House action. The report of the Division of Professional Affairs usually contains position statements that are new, revised, or deleted, or to be deleted, Occasionally, the Division of Organizational Affairs will present amendments to the ICHP Constitution that will require House action. Constitutional changes must be approved by the House, while bylaws changes are informational. Bylaws changes are not voted on, but may be discussed during the session. Any report presented to the House may be subject to questions by its members. The report of a division that requires action does not require a second. When there are several action items such as position statements or constitutional changes to be debated or discussed, they may be separated from the entire report so that they may be discussed and acted on individually. A delegate need only ask for separation of a specific action item for the purpose of discussion, and it will be discussed and voted upon individually. No vote to separate is required. The report of any division containing action items may be approved in whole or in separate sections at the will of the House. Once any or all of the action items are separated from the report for the purpose of discussion, Whatever remains in the report is first voted on without discussion. The vote for the remaining report should be a vote for acceptance, as any vote to reject or revise any portion of the report should be discussed before a vote is taken. Then, in the order as they appeared in the original report, the remaining separated items are discussed for revision, referral, deletion, and then voted upon. The provided bullet points describe the actions the delegates may take. Delegate recommendations provide a great opportunity for ICHP members to provide suggestions and raise issues of importance with the ICHP Board of Directors. These recommendations do not bind the board to take any specific action, but merely ask the Board of Directors to review a specific topic. Regardless of the actions taken throughout the year, the board is obligated to report back to the House at its next session. There is a specific time to make recommendations during each meeting of the House session. Delegates will be provided with paper copies of the delegate recommendation form at the House. The more detailed the background provided by the delegate related to the recommendation, the easier it will be for the Board of Directors to address each recommendation. The ICHP delegate recommendation forms should be completed in their entirety. When the time is appropriate, delegates will be asked to rise at their seat, identify the name of the delegate or delegates making the recommendation, and then read only the recommendation section of the completed form. Please do not read the recommendation background. The completed form is then handed to the Secretary of the House at the head table. Again, the chair of each House will report back to the House the following year on the actions taken by the Board of Directors on the recommendations made by the delegates. Delegates are asked to print and sign their names so that the appropriate division or committee within ICHP may contact the recommender for additional details or insight. It is worthwhile to discuss potential recommendations with ICHP members the delegates represent in advance of the House session. The election of the chair of the next year's House occurs during the second meeting of the House session and is overseen by the chair of the House, unless he or she is running for re-election. In that case, the vice chair oversees the election of the chair. If there are two candidates for the position, a paper ballot is distributed, and the delegates select the candidate of their choice. A group of 3 canvassers are selected from the delegates to count the ballots. If there is only one candidate for chair of the House, a vote of consensus may be taken by voice vote. If you have any questions prior to the annual meeting, you may contact the ICHP Executive Vice President or the current chair of the House. Their emails are provided. If a question arises at the annual meeting and prior to the House session, either individual may be sought on site for clarifications and guidance. Thank you for participating in this orientation process. We hope that the part you play in the ICHP House of Delegates is both productive and rewarding. Thank you.